What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Revived, episode number 4. I am your host, as always, Shane Craig, and joining me is the lovely Jesse Craig.
Howdy.
You may have to excuse us on this one. Maybe just me. I'm feeling a little... You ever eat a really big lunch or dinner and you just feel fatigued and a little tired, a little sleepy? What do they call that? Post-lunch.
They call it a food coma.
A food coma. That's
Food
exactly.
coma.
Feeling a little food comatose. Went to Wendy's. I had one of those double baconators. You know, they do you in. So I'm a little groggy. I feel like I could take a nap. I was trying to record a video earlier, and man, a lot of editing needed to be done there. So I would start a sentence, and I'd be like, "What was I saying?" There was a point I was trying to make. I did something I never have to do. I stopped recording so that I could listen back to what I had just said about 30 seconds prior to remember to regain my train of thought.
That's pretty bad.
I did not know where I was, what I had been talking about. Not good.
That's me every day.
24/7.
You get a little look into my life.
No clue where we're going. So that's where we are today. But with that being said, I do think we have a pretty strong show for you today. We've got a couple of good topics. We're going to talk about the relevance of E3, what E3 has meant to us. We're going to talk about a couple of games we've been playing, and we're going to debut a new segment where we're going to look at the top 10 games of the last decade, because if you hadn't noticed, it is 2020. It is almost 2021. Somehow the world has still not ended, much to the chagrin of a lot of us.
Kill us, please.
Why are we still here? Why are we still doing this? So we're going to look at the last decade in gaming. But first, before we get started, I want to take a second to thank one of our great, awesome sponsors for today's show. That sponsor is a podcast called the Round Earthers Society, which is a name that I really appreciate. I think that's awesome. Basically, it's a show comprised of two guys named Zach and Jesse, and they sort of promote themselves as thinking in different sorts of ways. So they basically take topics which could range from politics to Bigfoot, and they're going to talk those things over in a sort of philosophical way, but it's a very funny show. I listened to a couple of episodes just the other day in preparation for this, and it's laugh out loud funny. These guys have very good comedic timing, really funny. You kind of get the dynamic of one of them seems to be cracking a lot of jokes. Most of what I believe Zach was his name is saying is meant to be taken in a humorous way. Good comedic timing. And Jesse sort of plays the what you call in comedy, I believe, the straight man, which is basically the person that reacts to the other person saying absurd things. A similar dynamic to what I have with my co-host Jesse, spelled with an I instead of an E. So it's a great show. Check them out wherever you find podcasts. Like I said, the Round Earthers Society. Check them out anywhere, iTunes, whoever, for your podcast. Round Earthers Society. Great show, and thanks for sponsoring today's episode. So let's talk for a moment about E3, the Electronics Entertainment Expo. I remembered all three E's. Got there. It seems as though, do we need E3 anymore? I think this year, with the pandemic, I don't know if you've noticed, but there is a pandemic out there. In fact, I was watching the news, and they were talking about a coronacane headed towards Florida, which I think is what happens when God sneezes.
Coronacane?
Coronacane. It's a big swirly mess of corona. What the fuck are people talking about on the news?
I think that they probably saw like a hashtag, and they're like,
Hashtag?
I'm gonna be cool and say hashtag coronacane.
I think what they're like, there's coronavirus, now there's a hurricane. Yeah. But they're not the same thing. No. It's not a coronacane. It's a hurricane. Also, there's corona.
Yeah.
Stop combining things. Stop putting a gate behind... Coronacane gate is the next thing we're going to have. Stop putting gate behind things. It's fucking stupid, all right? Watergate was the name of the hotel. You all sound fucking stupid. Stop calling shit that. Anyways,
apocalypse?
I don't know. I don't know what to call it. But there's this coronacane out there. And because of that, we can't be in groups of people more than whatever, 6 feet apart, 10 of us. I don't know. We can't be in groups. So no E3. So instead, these companies have decided to do the only thing that's reasonable and to just make their own events, a la Nintendo Direct. Which, what do you think? Are you missing, as we watch the Xbox showcase, the Sony State of Play, Ubisoft's Ubi Forward, EA's State of Play?
I'm missing it all together as like an event because I feel like it feels bigger that way.
Are you missing the grandiose nature of the stage presence,
Yeah.
the speakers, Keanu Reeves,
Well,
personally?
I mean, yeah, he's amazing and everything. I don't know. I'm kind of two minds because I enjoyed like the musical segments that they had last year. I think that they had they had some guy out there and he was playing was it for Ghosts of
Tsushima had a musical thing.
Yes.
The Last of Us had a really cool musical thing.
Mm-hmm.
Doom wasn't Eternal yet, which is Doom.
So there was one guy who was playing The Last of Us theme music, I think, and then
the
there was like
composer, who's the actual guy that wrote the music, which is
I can't remember
awesome.
his name.
I can't either.
And then I think there was like more of like an orchestra for the Ghost of I can't say that word. Tsushima.
Yeah, you don't say
Thank
the
you.
T.
I want to.
Tsushima.
I want to say Tsushima.
I mean, you kind of do. It's like in Naruto, like, Tsunade. You kind of
Yeah.
put a little.
Tsushima.
Welcome to ASMR Corner.
We're gonna shh at ya.
Ladies, Tsunade.
I love Tsunade. What were we talking about?
Where am I?
Okay, hold on. Wait a
We're
moment.
talking about musical
Oh,
things
E3.
in E3.
Yeah.
How did we get here?
Yeah, I enjoy some aspects of it, but I don't enjoy. I don't know. There was a level of. I can't think of the word because I'm having a brain fart, but I don't know. There's a part of it I don't like where you've got a lot of talking in between, which for me it's kind of hard for me to stay on track and pay attention.
It's very long.
Yeah, it is long. And also, I always miss E3. I'm always working.
Yes, that has been my experience.
But I enjoy what E3 did the past couple of years where they had a ton of just back-to-back previews, which we've seen with each of the, I guess, console companies, Xbox and Sony, Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo. They kind of are doing their trailers back and forth, but there's a little bit.
Well, those events are what we're getting. Those videos, that's E3.
Yeah.
That's what we're getting instead of E3.
But it feels less like an event, like less like a special time of the year,
Sure.
which we always.
You looked forward to.
Yeah, we look forward to it, and
I remember being a kid, and man, I looked forward to E3 in a big way. Like I remember, I have this one particular memory of it was it would have been 2005 makes approximate sense. It was the year that they were showing off the Wii, which was not yet called the Wii. It was called the Revolution.
Oh, I remember that.
And we were having some family trauma, and I did not have internet. We had no internet, and no TV. We had a house to live in, and that was about the extent of what we had, and a phone. So what I did
I can relate to that.
is I phoned a friend, and he relayed to me. He was like on the phone, and he's like, the controller looks like a TV remote. He's like waving it around. Stuff's happening. The console is the size of like 4 DVD boxes. It's really small. It's white. It's called the Revolution. You can point the controller at stuff. And I was like, wow. Oh my God.
What a good friend.
You can wave it around. Oh my God. That's incredible.
What a good friend to sit there and relay that.
That's
to
all
you.
I had. That's the only way I could have known. And then if not for that, I would have. When would I have known?
Yeah.
I had no contact with anybody.
Yeah.
It was terrible. So, but I have that vivid remembrance memory of that phone call, and just even that being that removed from the event, I still enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. And I always looked forward to E3. But that being said, honestly, I I'm kind of good with it not being a thing. Like I kind of, I kind of hope it just doesn't come back. I prefer
Really?
I prefer what we have now.
Well, yeah, I get that because, I mean,
I loved what we've gotten.
yeah.
Sony, they go talk for like 30 seconds and they go game trailers.
Yeah,
and then it's
that's
trailer,
what I
trailer,
like.
trailer,
Yeah.
and then they go talk, trailer.
I don't care for
That's
all
great.
the clips of, ooh, here's the big audience. Here's all these people.
some
Here's all
dude-
these reporters. And I'm like,
Some dude on stage who's like, I am here to show you my game that we've worked very hard on. And I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Why is he
Yeah.
on a stage?
why are
Just
you making
show
him
me-
do this?
Just show me the trailer.
Quit torturing that guy.
I don't like this. I'm getting that. Was it Schadenfreude where you feel embarrassment for someone else?
Yeah.
My primary two emotions while watching E3 were excitement, disappointment, and Schadenfreude, and I did not enjoy two of those emotions. So just give me the trailers, and
I
you'll
guess,
cut down on
like-
1/3 of the problem.
Okay, let's put it this way. To fix it for me, if everybody would just do their direct style events on the same day or even in the same
that would
week,
now that would be neat.
that's what I want because we
Make it
watched
a
the
whole day.
Sony one and then we watched the Microsoft one and I forgot all about Sony. Like I could not remember what happened with Sony because it was like what, a week or two apart.
Oh, you're talking about this time when it was
Yeah.
we couldn't
this year.
we lost our frame of
Recently.
reference. It would be really neat if everybody coordinated, and then it was like here's a 2-day thing where Ubisoft, EA, the third parties go first.
Yeah.
Make it like E3,
Mm-hmm.
but in these condensed, streamlined packages.
Yeah.
That could be very cool.
Keep it all in the same week. Please make it relevant, to each other, but just make it a little bit easier on me. I tend to forget.
So normally we spend our first segment of the show talking about the games we've been playing lately, but this time we did things a little bit out of order. So now we're going to take a moment and talk about a couple of games we've been playing that I've been really enjoying. Now, we've been playing Sea of Thieves, and I'm really enjoying Sea of Thieves.
I'm glad because I want to keep playing it.
And we finally got a third person in our crew, and that seemed to really make a difference. That seemed to really make it even more fun. It was already fun.
Yeah.
But man, Sea of Thieves is I feel like that game's been somewhat overlooked. Like no one's really talking about. And it's been out for 2 years, but their player base is still rising for a reason. It kind of reminds me of how nobody talks about Rainbow Six Siege, but it's quietly churning away at a bigger and bigger player base, and they're just crushing, and no one notices.
Yeah.
I feel like Sea of Thieves is in a similar spot where that game is just rolling.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much to do. There's so much content.
And it's so pretty.
It's still the water is so pretty.
Mm-hmm.
It looks so good. And the other day, we got attacked by some kind of pinkish purple megalodon thing.
Yeah, and then...
That was wild.
And then I got booted from the server, and myself and the ship on my side capsized, and I went into that beautiful water and got... And then my computer crashed.
Yeah, I think that was
that had nothing to do with the game.
A local problem. But, man, I don't want to spend too much time on Sea of Thieves just because there's a game that's more recent that I want to talk about. But if you did happen to sign up for Game Pass, which I got a feeling more of you are going to be signed up for Game Pass in the very near future. I just published a video about exactly that because, spoiler alert, I think Xbox Live Gold, the subscription, is going away.
Bye.
And it will be just all rolled into Game Pass. There's a video about that, so you can go check that out. But if you're going to have Game Pass, give Sea of Thieves a look because it is really fun. Another game that is on Xbox Game Pass that is new that we both played a little bit of is Grounded, which is a game made by Obsidian where it's basically Honey, I Shrunk the Kids mixed with Minecraft.
Yeah.
You're a child in a backyard and you're shrunk and you're trying to, you're making stuff. You're cutting down grass to make into a fort. And I don't know, what did you think of Grounded over the first, couple hours or so worth of gameplay?
Well, the first hour I don't really want to talk too much about because I kept crashing out of the game.
We're having technical issues.
Yeah.
This game is in early access,
Yeah.
so expect some bugs.
Mm-hmm.
Pun very much intended. You see, there are lots of actual insects.
There are a lot of
Don't
bugs in that
punch
game.
the ants.
Well,
The ants are not your enemy.
I didn't know that.
Just go around punching things. Go into Walmart and you just start punching people because you're like, I didn't know that they weren't my enemy.
You got too close to my husband. I'm gonna have to punch you.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah. So the first hour was pretty frustrating for me. I think what we did is I think I hosted the game and then you jumped in on
it was
mine.
strange. I wasn't crashing. She was trying to join my game and crashing. The game was just closing, just force closing. So then later she played solo and it was fine. So then I just joined you.
Yeah.
And it was fine.
Yeah, it was totally fine.
So I don't know what that was, but I'm sure that's a problem that will get addressed. It's like we said, it's early access.
Yes. It's also a pretty game.
It's very pretty.
Yeah.
Like, I'm kind of blown away by how good that game looks. Even like, we published a couple of videos, some gameplay of it, and we were visiting family, and my little brother was watching one of our videos. Even on the TV, compressed over YouTube, I was like, it still looks good.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of pretty colors. I really like the little. I cannot think right now. They're not little. They're big. The big monuments, the baseball, the juice box.
Well, they give you like a frame of reference.
Yes.
For like, it's to the left of the juice box.
Right, and you can see it off in the distance, which I did almost get lost coming back from our tree lab.
How do you feel about the game not being procedurally generated, but being set?
I don't care about that.
You know, they can take away from replay value?
It could, but I mean, what if they just open up different maps?
What if they have a story mode that's not procedural? Because there's clearly a story being told.
Yeah.
You start off and there's some mystery as to how you found yourself shrunken.
Mm-hmm.
Honey, I Shrunk the style.
Yes.
But what if there's an adventure mode that's procedurally generated or something where you're just trying to survive as long as you can or something?
I think that'd be cool.
It's probably pretty neat.
I mean, I don't really know what to think just yet. Even the story itself is just totally different than anything else we have right now as a game.
Good sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
So far, you find a robot pretty early on that made me laugh a couple times.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I really enjoy the antics between the different insects.
The actual insects interacting.
And then the dialogue between the kids, too.
For a game that's early on like this, it's very dynamic feeling already. I like the crafting system. There's a few bugs in there that, bugs. Mm-hmm. There's a few glitches in there that I think that they definitely can clean up some weird, just some quality of life things. But they've really got a really strong base to the game already. It feels very good, and like I've said earlier, it is part of Xbox Game Pass, which I don't think it's called Xbox Game Pass. I think it's just Game Pass.
Game Pass is part of Game Pass.
So check it out. I mean, it's on there if you have an Xbox or a PC, and it seems, I didn't mess with the settings at all. I mean, I don't think my primary gaming computer is fairly powerful, but it's running really well. I might do some tests on some lower end hardware, but I'd love to know. I mean, look, they've already hit 1 million players, which
That's
is
insane.
Insane.
People are really into this, and honestly, like, it's such a cool, wholesome idea for a game, and I'm really into that. I've been saying for a while that I wish that somebody would do something different, and this is a different thing, and I'm into it.
Yeah,
they're combining all my favorite things: exploration, co-op, because I do like co-op games. I just don't play them that much. Survival, crafting, base building. I'm really into base building. I think if we can, get a little bit more of the story and also be able to take down some spiders and explore a little bit more.
The wolf spiders are horrifying.
Yeah.
They are genuinely scary.
Well, I mean, they do have the slider for the arachnophobia, which I thought about using because I don't like spiders.
I'm not arachnophobic in any real sense of the word, but man, there was a clip from one of our videos where I exited this sort of tree base, this lab in the trunk of a tree.
You got cornered.
And we got stuck in there and we got killed. If you die, you can go back and pick up your backpack, a la Minecraft. And man, I went down one route and I was like, oh boy, big spider. and I turned around to reroute, and another spider was even closer, and I was like, "Oh, I'm dead. There's nothing I can do about this," and they kill you pretty much instantly.
I do want to try the slider. I want to see. I messed around with it a little bit to preview it, and it kind of turns the spiders into what looks like little cotton balls, basically, which is like kind of funny.
What is it about the spiders that are? Is it? There's
Well,
something about them that just it makes you uncomfortable.
The legs,
they're like skittering.
Yeah. That's something that what's her name, Allison, or I don't know her name. She was on the Kind of Funny.
Oh, Alana.
I want to say Allison, but Alana something.
Alana.
She's blonde.
Not Alana
know.
Bloom. That's a character from Hannibal.
She's blonde.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pierce. Alana Pierce. She
Okay.
was on IGN. Yeah, she was talking about having some issues with the spiders.
She mentioned the scuttering thing, and I was like, yeah.
I don't like it. Like, remember
Yeah.
in the Grudge when the girl would crawl around on the floor? I don't like people when they crawl around. No, thank you. The Conjuring, that lady was up on the cabinet and then she crawled off of it.
I loved
like,
that. I loved when she was on the cabinet.
Excuse me. I wasn't scared of anything in that entire movie. Did not give a shit. People that when they clapped their hands behind the person's head, and people in the audience were like,
Oh
and
my
and I was
God.
like, well, they're just clapping. Like, what is scary about clapping? And then the lady crawled around, and I was like, oh my God, get her! What? I have to leave. So we're all afraid of something, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't. Me, it's crawling.
Okay, but here's one thing that they need to do. Okay, for the love of God, the noises the spiders make. They're going to have to do something about that. Can you give me a slider for that where they're not like,
Yeah, it's kind of weird
like
mouth
making
noises.
these weird, gross, awful
I don't
sounds.
have arachnophobia, but I do have a sensory processing disorder, and those sorts of mouth noises do not do anything for me. They make my skin crawl. It's like I'm not afraid of the spiders. I'm afraid of that the man you had in a studio just leaning into a microphone going. If I ever had to meet that guy, how do I get that job?
I want to audition for the mouth sound man, please.
Give me your best spider. All right, here we go. What, like, who the fuck thinks spiders don't make
But it
a
wasn't
noise?
even just that. There was like little, like weird, like grunts and like.
Yeah. The beetles, the little beetle that walked up was like,
Yeah,
like,
that
what?
was weird.
Like, all right, look, guys, you made a good game, but I've been in my yard before, and if it sounded like that out there, if you lay down in the grass and you just hear all over the place, like, what the fuck? Who thinks that's what animals? Bugs don't really make noises, really.
They don't.
Cicadas do.
They make
crickets
little
do.
like, you know,
yeah, but
like
they don't
with their
groan.
legs.
They don't groan at you.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But it's fun, though. I'd love to hear if anybody else in the audience here is playing Grounded. If we didn't say the name of the game, I'm sure we did. But Grounded is what it's called, and it's on Xbox One and PC.
I just realized why it's called Grounded. Because they're kids.
Because you're on the ground.
You're on the ground, but also like grounded, like you're a kid and you get grounded.
Yeah, it does. It does work in many different directions. Very, very clever Obsidian.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, our second sponsor of the day is a YouTube and Twitch channel called The Chatbox. It's hosted by Wes and Hop. They have a really good couple of channels with a lot of good gameplay, a lot of a pretty good backlog worth of stuff. They've got a podcast that they post on their YouTube channel as well. A lot of good banter, a lot of good back and forth. They're playing everything from Apex Legends to Divinity Original Sin, which is a game I've wanted to try. And I even saw them streaming Salt and Sanctuary, which is a game that did not get enough attention for being incredibly good. So kudos to them for playing that game, because no one else really did. If you want more info on them and links to their stuff, check out scaryifliteral.com and look for the Friends of SIL link up at the top. We're going to have a blog going up there where we're going to be posting basically shows, people, YouTube channels, things like that. People that have been friends to the show that have supported us in some way. It's a way for us to kind of give back to them. So like I said, scaryifliteral.com. Check for the Friends of SIL link up at the top and have a look at their pages. Tell them Shane and Jesse from Scary If Literal sent you. So like I said earlier, we are ending the decade here very soon. It is only, what would that be, 4 months from 2021? How is that possible? So as we approach the end of the decade, we're going to do a thing where we're going to look at Metacritic. We're going to look at the top 10 Metacritic games of all time. The games, the top 10 aggregated scores, not of all time, but of this last decade.
I was going to say.
And number 10 on the list. So it's actually number 10 on the list is Portal 2. But I don't think either one of us really played Portal 2. So we're going to look at number 11 instead. So we're just going to cheat right off the bat. 'Cause number 11 is God of War for the PS4, which is a game I didn't play, but you did.
Wow.
So essentially, and
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, they both had an overall of 94.
Yeah.
So really, I could just switch
That's
them
kind of
around.
low on the list, but you know what? There were a lot of games in the past decade, so hey, that's cool that it made it.
And you'll hear more about them in the upcoming weeks. But today we're going to talk about God of War for the PS4.
That's awesome.
I have one thing to say about God of War on the PS4.
You didn't play it.
No, it's boy. That's all I have. Boy, that's what I have to say about God of War.
You gotta add a little gruff.
I don't really
Boy.
remember what he sounded. He just was like,
Boy. I can't do
did
it.
he whisper it like that?
When he was sad.
Camera pans around. He just in the dark. Boy.
When Atreus got lost, he was like,
Boy.
boy.
My boy. I have abandoned my boy. That is not what Kratos sounds like. I'm Kratos.
No, I think we wouldn't love him if he sounded like that.
Started morphing into Don Knotts there. Oh,
If Kratos sounded like Don Knotts,
yeah,
I mean,
boy,
hold on, that might make it better.
Andy. Man,
Athena.
how many people don't? Athena? How many people here have no fucking clue who Don Knotts is?
They better know who he is.
Do you know the Andy Griffith Show? Any of you?
You know when he goes, Andy,
Andy, boy,
I'll kill you, Athena.
know my wrath.
I killed my family.
Don Knotts, rip.
The ghost of Sparta.
Well, that's all we have for God of War. So we're gonna.
No.
You've played pretty much all the God of War games, right?
Yeah, I did. I played all of them except for the ones on handheld. I did not play those.
Experienced the opposite experience where I only played the PSP ones and did not play the console ones because I really loved the PSP.
Together.
I liked them.
Yeah.
But I didn't play any of the other ones. So where does the reboot? I guess it's not a reboot because it's still Kratos. Nope, not a restart.
It's just a continuation of his story.
But it's the same name as the first one.
Yeah. I would call it a little bit of a reboot.
Where does God of War PS4 rank in your lineup of the God of War games?
That is such a hard question because it's not the same game. I mean, as far as like if I were to sit down and play any of them right now, it would be God of War on PS4. It's beautiful.
It was very pretty.
It's more openish. It's totally more. It's open world compared to all of the other God of War games because they are super linear. Kratos is better in my opinion in this game. I love the new voice actor as much as I appreciate the previous one. I can't remember his name. I can understand why he wanted to be done with it. And they did a great choice bringing in the new guy. I can't remember his name either, but I think he was in Stargate Atlantis or something like that. I don't know. He was in a sci-fi show.
Did they change voice actors?
Yes.
They did?
Yes.
Are you sure?
I'm like almost positive. It's not the same person.
I think it is.
I don't think it is.
Hmm.
Look up the original.
I'll have to look. Let's see here. Did they change?
Because the actors look completely different. The guy who had done 1, 2, and 3, and then I guess any of the side games, like, he was like, as far as what I heard, he did not want to come back and continue the role. Christopher
Judge, best known as some fucking random made up sound from Stargate SG-1, replaced Terrence C. Carson as the voice of
Terrence. That's his name.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So different voice actor, and he did a good job.
Oh yeah, because I mean, this is a more mature Kratos. This is Daddy Kratos, and I think it works really well. So I'll put it at the top of the list because I think that they were able to create a better game this time because I had all that time to reflect on the previous games that they had made. And then I don't know if you ever watched, you probably didn't. I used to watch a lot of documentaries on like the making of the original games because I love them so much. And they created a different character than they intended initially for Kratos.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I do enjoy more of the puzzle aspects from the previous games. They had a few puzzles in God of War PS4, but a lot of them were like having to hit these runes to open up a chest or whatever. And they were sometimes they were just hard, and it was not mentally taxing is what I meant to say. Mentally taxing. Like a puzzle is. They were just kind of frustrating. So.
Yeah, it seemed like the game, I don't know, like from what I saw of 4 versus the ones I had played, the gameplay loop seemed radically different. Mm-hmm. It seemed like, in as much as it maybe wasn't a reboot in the story, it was a new place in the story. It definitely seemed like it was a reboot in the way that the game plays.
Oh, for sure.
Would you say that you're excited for the potential announcement of a God of War 2?
Yeah, I mean, I know it's coming. Also, like, thank goodness they didn't kill Kratos' second. Well, they kind of killed his family because his wife died. Atreus' mom is dead. Yeah. But they didn't kill Atreus, so Kratos gets a little bit of happiness. So.
Yeah, that would have been just way too, like, that's kind of his whole thing, is like family death. So you can't then give him his first ever, he never really had a family member that was actualized in the way that he was, right? Like
no.
they were never quite as fully fleshed out.
No, it was just like backstory.
Yeah, so then to do that, you can't then just kill him. Like that's too cheap.
But I'm all for it, and I'm wondering if they're gonna take the series. I'm going on a rant, right? Not a rant, but I'm rambling. But I love this game so much. But I'm wondering if they're going to eventually, kind of gear the story towards us playing as Atreus.
It's possible. Like maybe that's how they eventually retire that character and go a different direction.
Because you can only go so far with Kratos.
It is pretty well rumored and speculated that Sony's got more to show, and God of War 2 is, I think, very likely.
We're just waiting on an announcement.
Yeah,
hopefully.
I would agree. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you to today's sponsor, the Chatbox and the Round Earther Society, for supporting the show. You can find links to them in the show notes as well as on the Scary If Literal website, scaryifliteral.com. So head over to scaryifliteral.com for all the links to our YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, etc. There are also links for several ways for you to support the show there as well. Thank you for joining me today, Jesse. My name is Shane. This is Podcast Revived, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.